All right, welcome everybody. So it is Saturday, August the 22nd, and this is our weekly Saturday English question and answer session. So you ask me questions and I answer them. These can be questions about English, questions about how to learn English, questions about me, questions about my channel, really anything that you want. The point is that it's an opportunity for you all to ask me whatever you would like to ask me. Um, and to be clear, you can also comment on my posts on Facebook or YouTube anytime, and I do try my best to answer them. However, I do get a lot of comments, so obviously I don't always reply to all of them. However, if you want to comment on something on Facebook or YouTube and you want to make sure that I see your comment, it's better to do that on YouTube because on YouTube I can see the notifications very easily. On Facebook, it is a lot more difficult for me to see your comments, just so you know. But yeah, it's our question and answer session today. We do this at the same time every Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which is the time that it is right now. And we're going to start with me just reading some of the comments, seeing who is here, greeting everyone a little bit, and then in a few minutes, we will start with the questions. But before I read the comments, I do very quickly want to remind you all of a few things. First, again, Saturday question and answer, always at the same time on Saturdays. However, we also have a live lesson on YouTube every Tuesday. Is it Tuesday or Monday? Oh my gosh, I forget. Tuesday. Yeah, every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a lesson with a topic. And that's more of a structured lesson where I teach you about one specific thing. So that feels more like a lesson, whereas this one that we do on Saturdays is just you all asking me questions. This is much more informal, more casual. And our live lesson for this Tuesday is going to be about look for, find, search, and seek. So I'll teach you the differences between these, and you all will practice making sentences, sending me your sentences, and I will correct some of your sentences to help you understand these words. Next, some of you have probably heard this before. You can now practice speaking with me on italki. So italki is a website or a platform that helps connect English learners with English teachers. And I now have a profile on italki, so you can book private one-on-one sessions with me to practice speaking. If you're interested, the link is in the comments, not the comments, the link is in the description below this video. Next, and we're going quickly because I do want to start the questions, but there are a few things I want to remind everyone about first. The next one is that I have my Facebook Messenger channel. Right now, most of you are probably already in this, but if you're not, it's a great way to get notifications from me. So it's Facebook Messenger, the app that you use to send messages on Facebook. I have one for Teacher Mike English, and you can't send me messages there, but I can send all of you messages with reminders like, hey, don't forget, the live lesson is in 1 hour. Or right when the live lesson started today, I sent a message saying, hey, we're live right now. I also share links when I have new videos and things like that. So if you're interested in joining this, it's free and the link is in the description below this video. Next, we have my email newsletter. I usually send about 1 email per month, usually no more than that. And it's similar to the Facebook Messenger channel, but it's only one time per month. I'll let you know, hey, I think these were the most interesting videos I made this month. Hey, I have a new ebook. Hey, these are some updates about the weekly live lessons, things like that. So if you'd like to receive about one email from me per month, the link to do that is also in the description below this video. We're almost done. We've got 3 more things before we begin. This one is that all of my ebooks are 30% off. That means a 30% discount until the end of August. You just need to use the discount code August30 when you check out. The link to get my ebooks is in the description below this video. And something that most of you probably do not know about is I now have a Spotify podcast. And right now, it's the same content that I post on YouTube, but it's just an extra way for you to listen. If you already like using Spotify, now you can find me there. And the link is down in the description below this video with everything else. And finally, the last thing I'm going to mention is that if you enjoy this live question and answer session today, if you find it useful and you would like to say thank you, a great way to do that is by buying me a coffee at my Buy Me a Coffee profile. The link for that is also in the description below. If you don't know what this is, Buy Me a Coffee is just a website that allows people to support their favorite content creators by buying them a coffee, basically donating $5. So if you find this video useful and at the end would like to help support my work, that is a great way to do it. But now let's begin with the Q&A. But I am going to read some of the comments first. Let's see. I see Rhea was here early. Please count me in. Will do. Nisreen is here. Hello, hello. Jane from Thailand is here. Welcome, Jane. Thank you for joining. See, Betty is here. Good evening, Teacher Mike. Good evening, Betty. I miss you, Teacher Mike. It's been a long time. You don't appear in YouTube. Please, can you tell us why? I don't know, because I post on YouTube usually 1 or 2 new videos per week. I'm on YouTube. I post on YouTube. I've been doing 2 live lessons every week and posting new videos every week. So I am on YouTube. I'm not sure what's happening. Ava is here. Ava, I know you're driving, so please don't comment too much, but thank you again for being a YouTube member and helping to support my channel. Thank you very much. Greetings from Russia. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Guerma is here. Hello, Guerma. Chris is here as usual. Hello, Chris. Hello, hello. Elena is also here as usual. Andrew is here from Myanmar. Thank you for joining, Andrew. Valdirs is here. Hello, hello, Valdirs. Tanya Kramer is here. Welcome, Tanya. Jessica Wong is here. Jessica sent me several coffees yesterday. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much, Jessica, and thank you for joining again today. And Renata is here, who is also a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Renata. And Uzga is here. Thank you for joining. Welcome, welcome. Now I am going to start looking at some of the questions. Must we always use on when we talk about days? Generally, yes, we use on with days of the week. So on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, and also when talking about dates on the 21st, on the 15th, on the 2nd. However, if you have a word like next, this, or last, you do not need them. Okay, so Aruni wants to know how to use somehow. Um, so let's say I'm not sure if my friend was angry with me. I'd like to ask her by using somehow. So I don't think you would use somehow in that situation. Um, and I can't even really think of an example where I would use somehow in a question. I'm sure you can use it in a question, but usually, I mean, we just say, I will do it somehow. That means maybe I will do it this way, maybe I will do it this way, maybe I will do it this way. I don't know how I will do it, but I will do it somehow. I'm not sure which way I will use. So that's what somehow really means. I don't completely understand what you mean with this question because I wouldn't use somehow for that question. But thank you for asking. And if you'd like to follow up, because you are a Facebook subscriber, um, if you'd like to explain the question in more detail, so maybe I can give you a better answer later, please ask this question again in the Facebook subscriber group, the private group that you are in, and I will try to understand it. I'll try to give you a better answer, but right now I don't really understand it. Thank you. How can I forward recovery wishes to another person through another person? Okay, so Tanya is basically asking Sarah is sick. James wants to say get well soon to Sarah, but James is not going to see Sarah, so James wants to tell it to me so I can tell it to Sarah. Um so for example, I don't think you would use reported speech. You would just, ooh, that's a difficult one. Um, let's see. I maybe just like James said to send you his wishes or something like that. Um, maybe James said that he's wishing you a speedy recovery. Something like that. Um, I guess it depends on why and what is the context. How do they know each other? Are you doing this by email? Are you doing it in person? Why doesn't this person just do it? There are some different things that might affect it. Kevin Hawthorne, I see you from Lakeland, Florida. Thank you for joining. Mike, which part of the US are you originally from? So I am originally from the part that I am in now, which is not Chicago. This is Chicago, and I am not from Chicago. I am from Maryland. So I'm from Maryland, and I live in Maryland now, but my background today is Chicago. But yes, I am from Maryland. What's the difference between support, back up, and stick up for? So, support is a standard verb that can be used in many different situations. It can have several different meanings. For example, this arm is supporting this arm. Or I guess you can see my hands. This hand is supporting this hand is supporting this hand. It's supporting it. It's keeping it there. You could also say, I support this football team. means I want them to win. You could also say, the mother supports her son. She helps her son, gives him what he needs to succeed. It can mean lots of different things. Back up is a phrasal verb, which also can mean several different things. But here, I think what you mean is when you might tell someone, maybe you're arguing with another person and you have a friend who's not saying anything. So you might say to that friend, hey, back me up, means come agree with me so that this person knows that they are wrong. I want you to come help me in this argument. Back me up. Um, Stick up for means to defend someone or defend or protect or help someone when another person is treating them unfairly. So if you have this friend over here and there's a bad person over here, and this bad person says something mean, something unfair to your friend, you might say to this person, hey, don't say that to him. That's not nice. You're a bad person. That is to stick up for someone. Irena, I see you're here. Thank you for joining. Guerma's asking, what mistakes do people make? Not do, but make. What mistakes do people make when they learn English or any other language? They make lots of mistakes. Um, it, I appreciate the question, but there's not one answer for this. There are thousands of answers. Um, but I'll tell you this: the mistakes that you make are usually because of two things. The mistakes that you make are caused by your first language, and second, by the language that you are learning. So, if you have someone whose first language is English and someone whose first language is Lao, the language that they speak in Laos, when those two people try to speak Thai, the language that they speak in Thailand, this person's mistakes are often going to be very different from this person's mistakes because your first language affects which mistakes you are more likely to make and which mistakes you are less likely to make. So yeah, it really depends on your first language and the language that you are learning. But the mistakes could be grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, really everything, everything. There's not really an answer to this question. But thank you for asking. Teacher, I would like to talk to you if you have time, but I don't know how to contact you. So if you want to ask me questions in a private group, the best way to do that is by by becoming a subscriber on Facebook. Facebook subscribers pay $4.99 a month, and they have a private group where they can post their own post that goes directly to me anytime they have a question. Thank you. Do you agree that French speakers have an advantage when learning English because French and English share thousands of words? Um, yeah. So if you speak English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, all of those languages are pretty similar. So for an English speaker, the easiest languages to learn are languages like French, Spanish, Italian. Portuguese. Portuguese, actually, I'm not 100% sure, but generally, yes. If you can speak one of those languages, the other ones are easier to learn. So if you are French, learning English will probably be easier than it would be for a Japanese person. Jessica, it's difficult to pronounce the word down. So I'm not sure which part of that word you are having difficulty with. Probably not the D sound. The vowel sound is ow, like now or cow or how. I don't think that part's difficult. Maybe you're having difficulty with adding the final N sound. So I would say just really, really focus on adding the N sound. Down, down, and practice it like that. Um, and then in real conversation, no, you don't say it like that. You don't say down, but if you practice it that way, it will be, let's say it this way. If you are someone who says down, down, if you make the N really, really strong in practice, down, then in normal conversation, it will be right in the middle between 0 and very strong, and it will be perfect. So if normally it's down, 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 it's not really correct. But when you practice, you make it down. Then when you actually use it, it will be right in the middle. Down, down, down. Just practice. Hit the sack is an idiom which means go to sleep. You can say hit the sack or hit the hay. Both of those mean go to sleep. Time to hit the sack means time to go to sleep. What's the difference between inside the room and indoor the room? So, indoor the room is not correct. Inside the room is correct. Elena, could you explain afford plus infinitive and afford plus gerund? I've seen both forms, but I can't understand the difference. So, for example, afford to lose versus afford losing. Off the top of my head right now, I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it and try to answer that later. How would you pronounce the word mountaineering? I already heard it 3 ways from different people, and that got me confused. Um, Mountaineering. So just mountain, mountain, the word mountain, how mountain is usually pronounced, and then add earring, earring, mountaineering. I'm surprised that you've heard this word from 3 different people, because I've never even heard this word used in my entire life. So I'm surprised that you have even heard it 3 times because I've never heard it. But yeah, I would say mountaineering, mountaineering. In a while. So in a while basically means later. Um, but it's later basically just means not now, sometime in the future. In a while makes it a little bit more specific because a while means a period of time. It's probably not a long time, but it's also not a very, very short time. So if someone says, I'll do it in a while, It's it's not 10 seconds. It's not 30 seconds later. It's not 1 minute later. I'll do it in a while is probably like 10 minutes later, 1 hour later, 2 hours later. There's not an exact number, but it's very similar to later or not now. I'll do it in a while. What means wild edge? I would need to see the full sentence. Just wild edge? I'm not sure. But if you show me the full sentence that you found it in, I might be able to tell you. What does right up mean? I don't know. Right up. Um, the only example I can think of is like in a restaurant where your server says coming right up. That just means your food will be here very, very soon. Coming right up. It will be here very soon. So that's probably the answer, unless you are thinking about a different situation where I'm not sure. Would you mind explaining to request, to demand, and to ask? So ask is just about making a question. Do you have a dog? What's your name? Where are you? How old are you? Do you like hamburgers? That is asking. To request means that you ask a question because you want someone to do something. For example, could you please explain this? Could you please sit down? Could you please help me? That is requesting, to request. Demand is similar to request, but you're not asking, you're telling. So to demand is help me. You need to help me right now. You need to make a cheeseburger for me now. That is to demand. Um, I think maybe your real question is what's the difference between request, demand, and ask for? Because to ask for something is very similar to request. Um, because request can be followed by a noun. Um, he requested a new blanket. Means he said, "Could you give me a new blanket, please?" You could also say he asked for a new blanket. So when you are using a noun, you can use request or you can use ask for. The guest requested a different room. The guest asked for a different room. Why is your page on Facebook not available anymore? I am from Pakistan. So there are about 9 countries that I blocked about 1 year ago. Um, Last summer, I just received lots of hateful, inappropriate comments from people in 9 specific countries. And Pakistan was one of the main countries where all of the inappropriate comments were coming from. And it wasn't because of something that happened one time. This is something that has been happening for years. Anytime that I mention Christmas, anytime that I mention gay people existing, anytime that I mention really normal things that should be appropriate to talk about in a multicultural environment, I received lots of really bad comments from specific countries, and unfortunately, Pakistan was one of those countries. However, you can access my page using a VPN, and there are free VPNs that you can use. So, thank you for learning with me. Obviously, I appreciate you, and I feel really bad that I have blocked you, but you can access my page using a free VPN. Ava, I hope you are not driving still. What is the name of the pizza cutter that cuts the pizza with a wheel? I think it's just called a pizza cutter. I call it a pizza cutter. Um, I think I think that's it. I think that demand is an order. So yes, demand and order are very, very similar. Um, I'm not even sure what the difference is. I think they're probably very, very similar, just used in slightly different situations. I can find out later. Jessica, I see your question about the difference between sign in and sign on. I'm not 100% sure, but I will check since you bought me 10 coffees the other day. Let's find out right now. Okay. So sign in means to basically to enter your account to show the system that you are here, probably using your username, using your email. So when you access a website, when you access an app, when you access your email, you sign in. Basically, you write your name when you enter a place. You can say sign in or you could say log in. Um, it looks like sign on is more about connecting to a network. Um, so other people who are on that network can now see that you are there. So if you're working using some type of system where everyone on your team can see your username and see that you are online, see that you are connected, I think that is to sign on. So basically, sign in just means you access your account. But sign on means you show everyone, hey, I'm here in the system with you. Um, that's what I'm seeing right now, just doing a quick check on the internet. That might not be 100% accurate, but that is what I see right now. Okay, so I talked about right up earlier. Now, this person's asking, what is the difference between right up and right away? I think it's really just the sentences that we use them in. Um, right up basically means very quickly. But we don't use it in lots of different sentences. We mostly use it in coming right up, just means it will be here in a moment. But right away means immediately, now, don't wait. And you can use it in lots of different situations. For example, I started answering your question right away. As soon as I read your question, I started answering it. Or someone might tell you, please do this right away. Don't wait. Do it immediately. Do it now. You can't use right up that way. In that situation, you can only use right away. How can I teach some beginners grammar? It's so difficult to get them to understand it. Um, don't. Don't teach them grammar. Wait. Don't explain grammar to someone who doesn't have basic language skills. First, teach them the basic language skills. Teach them basic sentences that they can use with you and you can use with them, understanding each other. After you do that for several weeks, several months, and they have the basic skills that they need to speak and understand, then start using some of that language to explain the grammar. But don't just start explaining grammar to someone who has zero language. That's not going to work. What would be an alternative way to say, "My city is dubbed the capital of mountaineering"? Um, my city is often called the capital of mountaineering. Um, my city is nicknamed the capital of mountaineering. Something like that. What does "when pigs fly" mean? So, "when pigs fly" is an idiom. And let's think about it. Is it possible for pigs to fly? Do pigs have wings? No, they don't. So it's not possible for pigs to fly. So if someone says, "Yeah, I'll believe that when pigs fly," that means that's never going to happen. I don't believe that at all. That is not true. I don't believe it. Or if someone just says, "Yeah, when pigs fly," that just means no, that's never going to happen. That's not possible. It's not real. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Ooh, and you also answered the question. Thank you again. What is the difference between slang and idioms? So I actually have a really detailed video about this on my YouTube channel already. Um, and let me see, I can find it and send it in the comments. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm sending a link in the comments right now. Um, you probably want to copy and paste the link right now because I don't know if you can click on this after the video ends. But the video that I just sent in the comments, that is a very detailed video about the difference between slang, idioms, and phrasal verbs because these are all very different. They mean different things and we use them in different situations, but lots of people seem to confuse them. Um, but I will explain this quickly right now as well. Um, so an idiom is basically an expression that doesn't mean what it looks like it means. So, when pigs fly, it's not about pigs. It's not about anything flying. It just means that will never happen. So, it's a way of saying something, it's a way of expressing an idea using language that is about something else. So if you haven't heard an idiom before, the first time you see it, the first time you hear it, you might feel like, "What? Why are they talking about that?" Because it's not actually about that. Slang is usually just one word. Um, for example, what do I have around me? I don't think I have anything good for slang around me. I don't think I do. All right, let me just think of an example. Well, first, let me explain what it is. So, slang is usually one word that is used by one specific group of people. It's not used by everyone. It's used by one group of people. And they use that word to show other people, hey, I am part of this group. This is my identity. This is who I am. For example, you could have teenager slang. So, words that only teenagers use. You could have gay slang, words that only gay people use. You could have engineering slang, slang that only engineers use. So, and slang is very informal because, again, it's not used to make your English sound good. It's used to show other people, I am part of this group. This is my identity. So that's really what slang is. It's very informal words that when people hear them, they say, "Oh, he's one of those people," basically. Um, And a lot of it nowadays is also like generational slang. So people who are 20 years old speak this way. People who are 30 years old speak this way. Um, can you guys wait like 30 seconds? I think there's a problem with my dogs. They won't stop barking. Oh, no, it sounds like it's okay now. Okay, okay. Never mind. Never mind. How to improve listening skills to understand without looking at captions. Um, the main thing that you should do to improve your listening skills is spend more time listening without looking at captions. That's it. Um, if you want to get better at something, do that thing more. And I do have a video about how to improve your listening on my YouTube channel already. You can go to the playlist, How to Improve Your English, and find the video that says how to improve your listening. But yeah, the basic thing is if you want to get better at something, do it more. What is the difference between prefer and would rather? Um, two things. One is grammar. To prefer and would rather are used different ways in the sentence. The sentence is going to look different. Um, for example, I prefer pizza. I prefer to eat pizza. I would rather eat pizza. The sentence structure is different. The way that we put them into the sentence is not the same. Um, Also, prefer is usually about like always. This is who I am. This is what I like always. Whereas would rather is usually more about making a choice right now. Looking to see if we have any other questions. It's already been about 45 minutes, so I'll probably just answer a few more, not too many more. Ava, I see it looks like you sent your question a bit early. I'll wait a moment to see if you fix it and send it again. BBC had a video this week about prefer and rather. Okay, great, great. Thank you. So if anyone is interested, you can check the BBC. I think it's BBC English Learning. You can check their channel. They probably have a video. Let me check if I have a video. I don't know if I do. Oh no, I have a video about rather than and instead of. Um, Ava, I feel like you've probably heard me talk about this before because it's something I have talked about multiple times, but it's a good question. Do you recommend learning English from songs? In general, no, I do not. I think that songs are one of the worst ways to learn English. Multiple reasons. One, um, I'm going to generalize. I'm going to say something that's not always true, but many singers are not very educated and do not have good knowledge of correct grammar and things like that. So lots of the things that they say are wrong. Also, music is art. So sometimes they say things that are wrong because it sounds better in the song. So there's lots of things that are wrong. And if you use things that are wrong sometimes, that's okay. Because often the things that singers say that are wrong are the same things that most native speakers say that are wrong, because lots of us use incorrect language also. So if you don't mind learning lots of things that are wrong, then yeah, music is fine. But if you want to learn correct grammar, music is generally not very good. Um, Also, if if you want to learn how to pronounce words and sentences correctly, the way that they say them when singing is completely different, often completely different from the way that we say them when speaking. So if I sang a sentence to you, that would sound completely different from me speaking a sentence to you. And if you want to get good at understanding speaking, you want to listen to speaking. If you want to pronounce things correctly when speaking, you need to listen to correct speaking, not singing. Um, Also, because of that, singing is often really difficult to understand. Like people always tell me, teacher, why is it so difficult for me to understand songs in English? Because they're singing. Because they're singing. You can't understand songs in your first language either. I can't understand many songs in English. I can't either because it's difficult to understand people when they are singing. Um, so yeah, that's my general idea about whether or not English is good for learning. I don't think it's very good for learning. But if you enjoy it and you find it useful, that's great. That's good. Do it. Keep doing it. I'm not telling you not to use music. I'm just saying that I myself don't recommend it. But if you like it, that's fine. That's good. Do what works for you. Um, but there is one reason why I do recommend using English. There is one thing that I really like about music. And this is because it's not about learning, it's about memorizing and remembering. So, music I don't think it's very good for learning, but if you already know the language, music is an opportunity for you to hear it again and again and again every single day, even if you're not using it in conversation. Um, for example, there's the song If I Were a Boy. I think Beyonce. I don't know if it was originally by Beyonce, but I know that Beyonce did that song a couple, maybe like 10 years ago. If I Were a Boy, even just for a day. Um, so if you hear Beyonce say, If I Were a Boy, and you hear it every week, again and again, because you listen to that song every week, you're never going to forget that. So I don't think music is good for learning, but it's good for remembering things. It's good for memorizing. It's good for keeping language that you already know stuck in your brain by putting it back in your ears again and again and again and again. Um, just it's good for listening, and but not listening like listening skills, but it's good for listening because listening is how you remember all the things that you already know by hearing them again and again and again and again. So music is excellent for that, but I don't recommend it for learning pronunciation or grammar or things like that. What about movies? Movies are excellent. 100%. If you just watch one English movie every day, that's probably better than watching 3 of my videos every day. If you watch enough movies, you don't need a teacher. Watch movies, watch TV shows, watch YouTubers who are not teaching English. These are the things that you really need. You need to listen to real English, people using English in real situations. So movies are excellent. I watched Zootopia the other day and I noticed that someone said the most stupidest. How can it be? No, that is a joke. That is a joke. That is supposed to be funny because they are calling another person stupid while using incorrect grammar, making themselves look kind of stupid. It's a joke. And to be clear, using incorrect grammar does not make someone look stupid. No one uses correct grammar all the time. My explanation of this was just to let you know that this was a joke. What are some questions that are not appropriate to ask to someone in American culture? Um, so I'll show you some of the questions that people on Facebook often like to ask Teacher Mike. One is, why don't you have kids? Why don't you have kids is not a good question to ask people because sometimes people have medical problems and they can't have kids. Sometimes people have tried many times to have kids and it's difficult. It doesn't work. Sometimes people have personal reasons for not wanting to have kids. Um, Things like this. So, first one, don't ask people, why don't you have kids? It's okay to ask, do you have kids? Do you have kids is fine. But why don't you have kids is not appropriate. Um, how much money do you make? Yeah, don't ask people directly about how much money they make. Um, some people don't like how old are you. For me, I think that's stupid. I want to know how old people are because I want to know if you have the same experience as I have, or if you were born after me, or if you were born before me. So some people say that how old are you is rude. I think that's stupid. I think everyone should ask everyone how old they are because it's good to know what someone has experienced and what they haven't experienced. But because many people think that it's rude, instead of asking, how old are you? It's better to ask, do you mind? Do you mind me asking how old you are? Hey, do you mind me asking how old you are? Or do you mind if I ask how old you are? That makes it just a little bit more polite. Um, what's another one? Um, I don't know. Those are some of them. Good question. I'm learning about noun modifiers like car door, toilet seat. Is it correct to say bank bathroom? Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, he's in the bank bathroom. It depends. It depends on the context. But yeah, you can. Jessica, thank you very much. So yeah, my Facebook page turned 9 days old yesterday. For anyone on YouTube who doesn't follow me on Facebook, I highly recommend following me on Facebook because on YouTube I only have videos. On Facebook, I have posts every day. Um, so if you really want to keep improving your English with me, follow me on Facebook also. Yeah, thank you, Jessica. Evelyn says, believe me, I have been learning a lot from English songs. I love music. So, yeah, great. So, perfect example. You can learn a lot from music, especially if you enjoy it, but it's not the number one thing that I recommend. But if you like it, yeah, do it. Good. Thank you, Evelyn. Why can I understand some people when they talk to me and other people I cannot understand? So why can I understand this person but not this person? Lots of reasons. Um, their accent is different. Their style of speaking is different. The speed at which they speak is different. The words that they use are different. Um, maybe you just feel more comfortable with this person. Um, but generally, it's because you have spent more time listening to people who speak like this person, and you have spent less time listening to people who speak like this person. For example, when I speak to Australians, I can't understand anything that they say. Australians speak English, but their English sounds weird to me. When I speak to British people, I can usually understand almost everything. But when I speak to Australians, I can only understand about 80%. And we're speaking the same language. I have a really hard time understanding Australians. And it's just because I haven't spent a lot of time listening to Australians. If I spent more time listening to them, I'm sure it would get easier. But I don't really have any reason to spend more time listening to Australians because I don't plan on speaking to lots of Australians. Um, which which is another important point. Um, you have to realize that there are things that you should focus on, and there are things that you need to understand. It will always be difficult because it's not something that's very important, so you shouldn't focus on it. Like for me, understanding Australians will probably always be difficult because I don't plan on speaking with Australians often. Therefore, I'm not going to spend 30 minutes a day practicing listening to them because that's a waste of time if I don't plan on speaking with them often. I would rather spend my time practicing things that are actually going to be useful to me. Um, so just understand that there are things that are more important to you and things that are less important to you. And you should focus on the things that are more important and just accept that the less important things will probably always be difficult unless you decide to spend more time focusing on them for some reason. But that's up to you. Good afternoon. What is the best way to ask, where are you from? So, I like the question, where are you from? Some people don't like it. Some people think that it's rude. For example, um, where I'm from, Silver Spring, Maryland, I think about 30% of people living here have parents who are immigrants, so not originally from the United States. So I often meet people. I meet people every day with very strong foreign accents. They're American citizens, but they have very strong accents. So I like to ask, where are you from? Not because I'm saying you're not American, because that's not true. What I'm asking is, oh, I'm really interested to know more about you and your original culture because in the United States, we want to know more about you. Like you decided to come here and you still have an important part of you that began in a different place and I find that interesting and I want to know more. Um so first thing, we need to understand that when people ask this question, they're not usually asking it to be rude. They're asking it because they think you're interesting and they want to know more about your story and they care. Um, However, sometimes people do feel like, oh, he's asking me that because he thinks I don't belong here or something like that. Or maybe people just get tired of being asked that question. Um, so how can you make it a little bit more polite? Um, you could add the word originally. Where are you originally from? Um, that could help to show them, I know that you live here now. I know that you are one of us, but I also want to know where you started. That's one way to do it. Um, you could also, again, use, do you mind me asking? Do you mind me asking where you're from? Or do you mind if I ask where you're from? But in general, I think it's fine to just ask, where are you from? Um, it depends on the context. It depends what kind of situation you're having. But usually you can just ask, where are you from? And that's fine. When we say, where are you from? Is it about where we were born or where we live now? So it's basically about where you were born. But some people were born somewhere and then they very quickly moved to another place. So it can get a little bit difficult. But the important thing is it's not about where you live now. It's not about where you live now. So I lived in Thailand for 10 years. But in those 10 years, I never said I am from Thailand because I'm not Thai. I am American. So I will always be from the United States. That's always going to be my answer. Even if one day in the future I move to Spain and I become a Spanish citizen, When someone asks me, "Where are you from?" my answer will always be, "I am from the United States," because that is where I was born, that is where I grew up, that is where I lived as a child. So I think that's one of the best ways to think about this question is it's really asking, where did you live as a child? What was your nationality when you were born? Kind of a mix between those two between those two questions. When I was in the USA, people often asked me, "Where are you from?" And yeah, it's because they can hear that you are not American. Like, "Oh, cool. You're visiting our country. We like that. That's interesting. We want to know more about you. Where are you from? Tell us about it." Yeah. So again, it's not usually a negative question. It's usually a very positive question because they're interested in you and they want to start a conversation. But yeah, okay, it's been about an hour. So final thing is I just want to remind you all that this Tuesday we're going to do a live lesson about look for, find, search, and seek. So if you are interested in learning the differences between these and practicing making sentences using these words and sending your sentences to me for me to check them live, please join this Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, please don't forget that I now have an italki profile and you can practice speaking with me in live one-on-one private sessions. The link to do that is in the description below this video. Also, don't forget my ebooks are all 30% off for the rest of this month. You just need to use the discount code August30 at the checkout. And if you found this live session helpful, interesting, fun, or you just want to say thanks, a great way to do that is by buying me a coffee. And the link to do that is in the description underneath this video as well. And finally, the last thing I want to remind everyone is I now have a Spotify account. So if you use Spotify, you can listen to me there as well. Link in the description below this video. Um, I meant to click this one. Did you miss Tivan? I don't know what that means. I don't know what Tivan is. Thank you for today's live, Teacher Mike. You are very welcome. Thank you for participating. Jane, great live as always. Thanks, Teacher Mike. Thank you very much, Jane. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, that is all for today. Thank you all for joining, and hopefully I will see some of you in the live lesson on Tuesday, and then in the next live Q&A session on Saturday, next Saturday. Goodbye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and have a nice week ahead.